The first thing I saw, of course, when I came to your convent here at Prestine was the wall that surrounds it.
Yes.
One of the first noises I heard, of course, was the sound of the double locks being unlocked. Now, why is it that you choose to lock yourselves in here?
I think you've chosen the wrong expression, Mr. Davis. We don't really lock ourselves in, you know. I wouldn't call it that. I think we lock the world out. In the very old days, you know, even in the pre-Christian days, men used to dedicate themselves to God and go out into the solitude of the desert. It isn't all that easy to find a desert nowadays with all everything that breaks into desert life. So we create a desert for ourselves, building a wall round, you see, but it keeps the world out.
Until these new cells are ready, you're living in these huts on the lawn?
Yes. Yes, the little garden sheds. We had to get those when we first came so that each sister could have a cell. As I told you, the house wasn't big enough.
But you'd be quite happy to leave them, I suppose?
Oh, no.
No?
Oh, no, I don't think so. We simply love our huts, those kind of cells.
Inside, of course, they're very sparsely furnished.
Yes, just
the old and the new.
Yes, just the minimum. There's a black cross. I'm going to refer to that black cross later on, Mr. Davis. And then below the cross, on the left, you'll see a holy water stoop. And below that is the bed. There's a pillow. And a storm lantern on the right, you see, as we used to light ourselves across the lawn to bed.
Yes.
And a jug of water. And the bookcase is, in that particular cell, it's an old orange box. You have to make do with what you can get.
But no heating?
Oh, no. Well, there's no sort of permanent heating. In the winter, when it's very cold, each sister, after matins, goes to the kitchen and takes a hot brick out of the oven. We take those across, wrapped in paper in some sort of a cloth bag, you see.
This, Mother, is really, to a person like myself, a hard and an austere life. There is no physical attraction whatsoever. What would you say prompts a girl to become a nun?
Oh, nothing else but a very, very strong sense of vocation. She wouldn't be drawn to it in any other way. It's just a certainty that she's called to this kind of life.
What exactly is your day? When does it begin?
It begins at 5:30 in the morning.
5:30?
Perhaps you'd like to know how we're awake.
Shall I try?
You try, Mother Gabriel.
Well, that's a really startling knocker-up, isn't it?
Yes, isn't it?
Now, this sounds at 5:30 in the morning.
5:30, yes. And then when we're dressed, we come over to the across to the house and go to choir for the first hour of prayer. And the rest of the day, with Mass as the centre, is divided up into hours of prayer and hours of work.
What kind of work?
In this Carmel, the different convents have different works, but ours is principally connected with altar bread making for firms. And we do, that's the chief thing. It employs a great many sisters. And we make vestments a certain amount. We make Christmas cribs and Christmas cards. Mother Gabriel has 3 little presses. And then there's the garden, of course, and the livestock. It takes a terrific lot of energy and work.
But you must find yourselves very often in the position when you have no hard cash, and as we all know, hard cash is very necessary in this materialistic world. How do you manage in those circumstances?
Well, divine providence always provides some answer. It might even be barter.
Barter? Has that actually happened?
Oh, yes, indeed it has. This very desk here where we're sitting was bartered for... What did we barter the desk for? A second-hand kitchen range, yes.
Yeah.
And another, as you came in at the gate, did you notice the beautiful chapel door?
The door, yes, I did.
Oak door. Yeah. We bartered that when we moved here for a motor mower and a flock of geese.
Well, it's a very good exchange, I must say.
Yes, isn't it?
But there are certain periods, you say, when they can talk to each other.
Twice a day we have recreation. Yes, it's after 2 meals.
What do you talk about on those occasions? Is it a very light-hearted chatter, you know? Do you gossip
yes.
and so on?
No, we don't gossip. No, well, light-hearted chatter indeed, yes. And we sing sometimes too, and sometimes read. I might read to them out loud. But no, one of the things we have to be awfully careful about, you know, is the law of charity, because you could quite imagine, Mr. Davis, a whole lot of women living together. Supposing they started gossiping and making personal remarks, it could create a real little hell, couldn't they?
Well, I refuse to answer that question. I'm sure you're right. know, when you were 12, had you then decided that you wanted someday to become a nun?
No, I hadn't thought of becoming a nun then, but when I was about 13, I found at home a copy of the life of the young Carmelite saint, Therese of Lisieux. And the Carmelite life attracted me so strongly that my conviction then that God was calling me to Carmel has never left me since.
What did your father and mother say when you told them this?
Well, they knew that it would be the hardest sacrifice that they would ever have to make. But I think that at the same time they felt the wonderful happiness that comes from giving a child to God. And when my brother was asked once how he would feel if his sister became a Carmelite, he said, I should feel very honored.
Well, now, in about 4 years' time, you'll be taking your solemn vows, won't you? This will mean that you're going to live here, within these walls, in this place, for 50 or 60 years.
Lovely.
Lovely.
Oh, yes.
You feel you're old enough to make this decision?
Yes, because, you know, many girls are married at 19, and they're prepared to spend 50 or 60 years with the man they love. And so for me, the idea of spending my lifetime with my heavenly bridegroom, whom I love much more than any girl could love her husband, gives me the greatest joy.
Since you've come here, you're perfectly happy.
Oh, yes.
You look happy. You sing. Sister Clare of Jesus, isn't it?
Yes.
How long have you been a nun?
Nearly 8.5 years.
Mm-hmm. What were you before that?
I was a social worker in London.
Mm-hmm. What kind of work did you do?
I had a job in a mental hospital, and then I started training as a hospital almoner for 3 years, doing social studies at the same time. Then I went into the Diocesan Rescue Society, which provided homes for homeless and unwanted children. And I was the assistant to the adoptions officer there.
Had you ever been attracted, you know, before that, towards the idea of becoming a nun?
No, not becoming a nun.
Never?
No, I hadn't thought of it.
Was it therefore the direct result of this kind of social work that made you decide to become one?
Yes, I think so, yes.
Why was that?
Well, I could see quite clearly that with all the efforts we made to do that work, that really only God could do it.
Well, yes, if I may ask you, Sister, I'm sure, you know, there are probably, 5 or 6 million people watching us at this moment. I'm sure somewhere there's a little woman who's sad and unhappy and her life is empty, full of frustration, disappointment. I'm sure she is saying at this very moment, you know, Sister, I'm sure you're a very good woman. I'm sure you believe in what you say, but I need help. And how do you think that you're helping me by living here within these walls, away from the world?
Well, it's because we take everybody's sorrows and sufferings and frustrations, and we present them all before the throne of God, because only He can help and heal and comfort them.
But couldn't you do both? Couldn't you live in the world and help these people and pray at the same time?
Well, I tried it.
And it didn't work?
No, it's not enough. You must have the complete dedication to do the work most fully.
And you believe that people like yourself must dedicate yourself to this life of prayer and meditation?
Yes, I do, certainly.
And in doing so, you believe sincerely that you are helping people in the world?
Yes, I do indeed.
Thank you, Sister.
Sisters, I have been asked before I give you the final blessing tonight to say a word to all the people in their homes who have been looking in at us tonight. And this is what I want to say, that we all realize that to remember a picture is much easier than to remember words. We have been trying to answer Mr. Davis's questions. He's put in your name. But this is the picture I would like you to remember. Don't think I'm being dramatic. I just want to express to you, like that, how I would like you to remember a Carmelite. It's a picture of love. Do you remember that black cross in our cell, which shows the greatest love that ever was? And I want you to realize, too, that in holding out our arms like this, we're taking you all to our hearts. And all the people who are working, people who are suffering, people who are in any kind of trouble or loneliness, that we do care tremendously. And our prayer is personally for each one of you. Please will you remember that? And we take your joys as well to us. So may I ask God's blessing on all of you as well as on all of our community. Benedicat et custodiat nos omnipotens et misericors Dominus, Pater et Filius et Spiritus Sanctus. Amen.